The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Oh yeah, we're back. We're back. Oh goodness, we're off to a flying start. Welcome to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Godzilla Media. And to my left, or to my right, excuse me, is a man who is all about those Lucky Charms today, Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are we doing today?
They're always after me, Lucky Charms. Why does everyone always laugh when I say that?
Why does everyone always laugh when I say that?
Oh man, it's a television commercial. Happy to be joining you on this St. Patrick's Day. A little lower key than some of my past St. Patrick's Day, but I think I'm glad for that.
Yeah.
It's a young man's game and a young person's game to go out to the bars and have the green beer and do all that thing. But I might put on. Yes. I don't want food coloring in my beer, but I do have a Guinness. I do have a Guinness right by my side here.
As do I. Actually, I'm actually drinking a Guinness Zero, which is the non-alcoholic. So I'm gonna give it a try in my Guinness glass because it's only a couple times a year where I break these out, and this is a special occasion. So,
cheers to you, my friend.
Cheers to you. Cheers to everyone out there watching and listening.
Here's my Guinness glass as well. We go by themes here on No Credentials Required.
This tastes like the real thing.
Oh wow!
It tastes like the real thing.
I guess I should have picked it up. I saw it at Price Chopper today when I went out on my lunch. I was like, I should get a Guinness for the show. And the pickings were slim there, man.
Yeah, I got this last night on the way home from the gym. I figured, all right, I'll give this a shot, and well worth the $9 and change I paid for it. So I'm a happy customer. So this gets the No Credentials Required seal of endorsement.
There we go.
I need to get a seal. I need to get a seal of endorsement. Like
we should get an official
clapping seals.
Yeah, and then this is our segment. No Credentials Required unofficial beer reviews. We're covering it all here earlier on our return episode.
We are, and Dustin, it's been about a month since we live streamed. What did you do anything special while we were away?
Not really. I just took the time to recharge batteries. I did come up with a few ideas, which we met about. You had a lot of ideas. Safe to say we have a lot of exciting things in store for you. But mostly I just took the time off. Much like you did. Didn't really do anything spectacular with it, but it was nice to recharge the batteries. And I'm happy to be back. What about you?
Nothing terribly exciting. Well, I guess you could say nothing terribly exciting on my end, but some family things that went on. One pretty happy, one a little bit sad. I'll talk about that a little bit later in the show, but it happened this week. So, other than that, just usual rigmarole. And we've already got a comment from Wonko the Sane. Welcome back, Wonko the Sane. Appreciate you chiming in. So 7 and 7's here for the holidays. Canadian whiskey and 7-Up. Very Irish.
Oh, extremely.
Of course. So before we get down to talk for today, we're going to just make sure you know about our social media channels right down below. If you're watching Twitter, Instagram, and yes, even TikTok. We haven't really uploaded that much lately there, but that's at NoCredsREQ, Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ. And on YouTube, it's YouTube.com at NoCredsREQ. And if you're watching on either Facebook or on YouTube, we would like you to smash that like button. Smash responsibly, though. There's no coins, though. There's no coins in that when you smash that like button. Maybe someday.
Yeah.
Maybe someday.
This is not, you know what? Some genius coders at YouTube should have made the like button a Super Mario coin bank. And then when you clicked it, a bunch of coins would come out. That'd be pretty sweet.
That would be pretty sweet. Or rings like in Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yep. Sega does what Nintendo don't. Not in my book, sir.
Oh, well.
I was a Nintendo kid through and through.
That's okay. No, hey, everybody's got their everybody has their flaws. Subscribe on the podcast side. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Play, wherever you podcast. Our home base is Megaphone, but you can find us there. And also rate and review. We may even read your review on the air. And Dustin, of course, we gotta play that harp sound. We gotta play that magical harp sound, man. I've missed this. I've missed this sound so much.
Me too.
Engage with the show, folks. That's right, folks. We want to hear your comments during the show, and we've already got another comment. Snowman Multimedia, Snowman Brian Snow chiming in and says, hey, Snowman.
Oh, happy you're here, Snowman.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm wearing my green today, Dustin. I'm wearing my New Jersey Devils custom Irish themed jersey, my St. Patrick's Day themed jersey. Got it from a really good friend of mine. A few years back, he's currently in Guam with his wife and his child. He's serving in the Navy. So, Steve,
cool.
Thanks for serving and being my bud. But
yeah, thank you for your service, sir.
I don't see you wearing green there, pal.
No, I failed. I absolutely failed. But you know what? I'm mostly Scottish anyway, so
that's okay. Like I said, everybody has their flaws. So
maybe I'll paint my face blue and we'll do like a Braveheart watch party, on Sunday.
You have to get the horse and the kilt too. You have to wear that stuff.
I don't know if I can rock the kilt. We might get some band, our first band show on No Credentials. True story though. I bought a kilt at Irish Fest way back in the day, and I never wore it. It was a big size. It was a big size. Yeah.
So it was a bigger size kilt. Back then it would fit me. I tried it on the other day just for kicks and giggles because I never tried it on, and it fell off.
Yeah. You officially graduated from the kilt.
I officially graduated from a size 50. Another true story. While we were on a sabbatical, I had to buy new jeans because when I was at church, I was running around doing stuff for my church with the AV club. And my pants kept falling down, and I'm like pulling back up. Like they kept falling down, pulling back up. I'm like praying to Jesus. I'm like, please, dear Jesus, don't let my pants fall down in the middle of church while I'm running around doing stuff. And I discovered I lost not one, but two pant sizes.
Oh, there you go! Congratulations.
Yeah. So I'm on this. I've been on this. I don't know, for most of you, maybe some of you don't know. I've been on this weight loss journey for the last year or so. And it's working out. I go see my doctor tomorrow, and I've got some other journeys I'm going on as well too. So maybe another episode we'll get into that a little bit more. But for now, we got lots of sports to talk about, Dustin. And one of those sports happens to be the National Football League, which we primarily covered this fall during the NFL season. We had the last time we were on, we talked about the Super Bowl. We reviewed the Super Bowl, but free agency started this week. Legal tampering period started on Monday. We heard contract details, trades, signings became official today. So, Dustin, I want to know, who are your winners and losers so far in free agency?
Well, so far, let me say that my winner is not going to be necessarily for the moves that they've made and the signings that they've made in free agency, but it's more based off of one trade, and that team is the Chicago Bears and the draft capital that they
Okay.
got for trading that first overall pick to the Carolina Panthers. Um, and I mean, as part of that trade, they got DJ Moore, which now gives Justin Fields yet another receiving target. And I think a more, no offense to Mooney, but a more established number one wide receiver. And it can kind of, Mooney clearly has talent. But having DJ Moore on that team is going to help open up that offense. I also don't discount Aaron Rodgers' former target, Robert Tonyan. I think he's going to be somebody that can catch balls when they get in close. And they also signed Donta Foreman to a deal as well. Donta Foreman, we saw what he did when he was given the opportunity to split carries with Chuba Hubbard, I believe, in Carolina last year. I don't know. I like what the Bears are doing. None of their free agency signings did I look at them and go, wow. But the haul of picks that they received for trading that first overall pick, along with DJ Moore, you can't argue with what they're trying to do, in my opinion. I think they're the big winners so far. What about you?
Yeah. Well, for me, the biggest winner so far are the New York Giants. I'm typically don't give. I mean, actually, this season I did give a lot of praise to the Big Brother New York Giants. As
Yeah, you were very, especially of their defense. You were very
Yes.
complimentary of their defense.
Yes, and have they added a piece or two, but they've also retained a piece or two. But I think the biggest thing for them was that they traded for Darren Waller, which you see to yourself, what in the world are the Raiders? On the flip side, it's what in the world are the Raiders doing?
Yeah,
You've already released Derek Carr.
yeah,
You've already you've gone ahead. You've franchise tagged Josh Jacobs.
yeah.
Now you're trading away arguably your best receiver after Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
But you add him to the New York Giants because Ingram went to, I believe Ingram went to, no, Ingram. Can't remember who, but one of their tight ends, they lost one of their tight ends, but they decided to pick him up for a 3rd round pick, which is a steal in my eyes. It's an absolute positive steal.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when Waller is healthy, he is inarguably one of the best tight ends in this league. And I mean, honestly, we all know that it's like Travis Kelce and then everybody else, right? But
Right.
Waller is probably I'd say is top 3 in the league, easy.
Yeah. When he's healthy, yeah, absolutely. When he's healthy, he's top 3 in the league. But not only did they trade for Darren Waller, they signed Bobby Okereke from the Colts to add to defensive depth. They retain Jihad Ward. They retain Darius Slayton. They bring in Paris Campbell to add some wide receiver depth, and they also so I think the Giants are winning so far in free agent. I believe they're winning free agency so far. I could say a couple things about my Jets, but we'll say that for Victory Monday. I'll bring in my buddy Dan. And we'll talk about the Jets and what they're doing. But I think the Giants they're adding some offensive pieces. They're keeping some defensive pieces and adding additional depth, adding in depth. I think they're going to be. They want to stay a contender for that NFC East crown. It's a tough division with Philadelphia, and I wouldn't say a rebuilding, but retooling Dallas team.
Yeah.
And Washington, they're not as bad as people think. I think they need to add a couple pieces, most notably quarterback.
Yes. They did sign Jacoby Brissett, which I do not think is a bad signing for them.
It's not a terrible signing. No, not at all.
Yeah, but I would agree with you. They still need like an A number one quarterback. Brissett has shown that he can carry a team and get you through like a good 5 game stretch. If your starter's injured, he's got a chance to win 3 or 4 of those 5 games. But I mean, he could be sneaky. You put the right pieces around him, I think he's going to be sneaky good. But I think they still need a quarterback.
Yeah, they drafted Sam Howell, who again I don't trust because he doesn't eat steak; he only eats chicken. But but they're going to build around him, and I think also bring in Eric Bieniemy as your offensive coordinator and supposed coach in waiting.
Yeah, I think he is the associate head coach. Right? That's
Yes, he's
why.
is offensive coordinator and associate head coach.
Yeah, so that's why he left, because
Yeah.
he views it as a head coaching opportunity. Also, you want to get a little tinfoil hat, which sometimes I do on this show. If he turns around the Washington Commanders offense, which has been much maligned the past few seasons, with the
Mhm.
exceptions of the sparks occasionally provided by Heineke. Um, if he turns around that offense, even if they say, all right, Eric, Ron's going to stay a couple more years. We're sorry. We thought you were going to be the head coach in waiting, but you're going to have to take a step back for a little bit longer. If he turns that Washington offense into anything, he can use that as a huge resume card, because he's out from under Andy Reid's shadow,
Mhm.
and he
Mhm.
also doesn't have Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, and he doesn't have Travis Kelce. So people say, well, you're running Reed's offense in KC anyway. You got Patrick Mahomes, you got Travis Kelce. What have you actually done? If he turns around this Commander's offense, he can say, this is what I can do.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm intrigued to see what he's going to do with that offense come September. But we're going to talk about losers in free agency so far. And my biggest loser so far is the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm a little bit disappointed, and I mean, considering the way that they broke the bank last year to bring in Christian Kirk,
Yeah.
Sheriff from Washington, to put in as their left tackle, Brandon Sheriff. Scherf. Um, they lost one of their best offensive linemen too that he signed with. I believe it was the Chiefs. Can't remember his name off the top of my head, but they lost one of their better offensive linemen,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's going to hurt them in the long run. But they could have a plan in the draft. I mean, this is a Jaguars team. It's on the up and up. I could see. I made that wild. I wouldn't say wild prediction that they would win the AFC East, AFC South. Excuse me. I think pretty much everyone, like Jared, like our buddy Jared from Corner Booth mentioning, anybody could have predicted that. But
Yeah.
but in a sense, that this is a team that's on the up and up. Doug Peterson is a quarterback whisperer. He's a very good head coach. He's won a Super Bowl. So it'll be interesting to see if he can bring them to the promised land. But I think they need to add a couple more pieces. I'm just kind of disappointed they couldn't retain one of their best offensive linemen. What about you, Dustin? Who's the biggest loser in NFL free agency so far?
For me, it's the Raiders. And you have to. That they're in full rebuild mode. Like you look at a team like the Bucks that signed Baker Mayfield. You know what they're trying to do. They're trying to get a stopgap. They're trying to retool, rebuild their team. Their team was older. Once Tom Brady retired officially, you knew that they were going to just blow it up and try to start over. But it seems like Jason Licht, I believe he's the GM down there. He at least has a plan. You look at the Las Vegas Raiders, and I don't know what they're trying to do. They get rid of Derek Carr, which I understand. But then who do they go out and get? They get Jimmy Garoppolo, which he's going to be there. He's going to be there for, I mean, I would say 1 or 2 years max. And obviously they've got to be targeting somebody in the draft. But as you say, whoever the young quarterback is that they're bringing in, they're not putting building blocks around him. They're getting rid of Waller, and I can't imagine Devontae Adams leaves a steady situation in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback to get paid a lot of money. honestly, and also play with Derek Carr. Well, now Derek Carr is not there anymore. And do you think Jimmy G inspires? No offense to Jimmy GQ, but does he inspire the confidence in Devontae Adams? You have to wonder, and you have to wonder if they're going to try to trade Devontae Adams at some point, or if he's going to say that he wants out. I just look at this team and I look at what some of their signings, and I just don't understand what they're doing. To me, you know that they're in a rebuild, but it doesn't seem like they have a direction.
No, well, right now, according to the draft order, they are number 7. They pick 7th overall. So I kind of have to wonder if they're going to try and make a trade for one of those quarterbacks. One of those quarterbacks. I don't know who they'll trade. Like Houston and Chicago, Carolina and Houston appear to be 1-2 in terms of quarterbacks. Bold prediction, which is not really a bold prediction.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud and oh gosh, who's that kid from Alabama? I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Let me
I can't remember his name.
Jalen, wait, hold on. Jalen Milroe?
Bryce Young.
Oh, Bryce Young. Jesus.
Bryce Young.
Yeah, I don't know how because I was pulling up. Oh, this is it. Yeah,
you were pulling up Jalen Hurts, weren't you?
No. But this kid is apparently the high school kid who's going to be battling for the starting job. So I was.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I was. I tried. I tried in that. Me and Frank Wycheck, we struggled. We struggled to pull that one up.
Sam Weish. May you rest in peace, my friend.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But I kind of have to wonder if the Raiders are going to try to move up in the draft so they could pick a quarterback. I mean,
yeah.
People are saying Will Levis. People are saying based on the combine, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson could go high.
Yes, Anthony Richardson has been getting a lot of buzz. Specifically, I've seen some people. One of them, I think, was Field Yates of ESPN, that thought. And this was a while back, and things changed. But he thought that Seattle could be a potential landing spot for Anthony Davis.
I kind of have to wonder, Anthony Richardson.
Oh, Anthony Richardson, yeah, not the brow,
not the brow.
yeah.
I can see the Raiders trying to trading up with Indianapolis, swapping with Indianapolis based on what I don't know what Indianapolis needs. Matt Ryan's probably not going to be there anymore.
No, I wouldn't think so.
But based on the sketchy quarterback history over the last couple seasons, they can't seem to land a quarterback after Andrew Luck retired.
Yeah, he cursed him.
It's been a very difficult transition for the Indianapolis Colts in terms of quarterbacks. I could also see them standing pat and just saying, "Hey, we'll draft Anthony Richardson." I'd be curious to see what the new head coach is going to do with that team. So,
but yeah, and this is an interesting time of year because you can start with free agency with some of the moves. You can kind of telegraph what some of the teams may be thinking to do with their top overall picks. Obviously Seattle, like I follow them more because they're my team, but Seattle signed Geno Smith to that 3-year deal, which I don't think is a terrible deal. I think that's probably about the right term, but they also re-signed Drew Lock today or last night to a 1-year deal. So to me, that indicates to me that they may not be looking at a quarterback with their top pick that they received from Denver.
Well, what are their biggest needs? I had to figure. Defense looks pretty good.
Yeah, and they made a move.
I have to imagine running back because Rashad Penny's gone.
Yes, Rashad Penny is gone right now, and even Travis Homer is gone.
I forgot Kenneth Walker. But I figured they would need some wide running back depth. They probably don't have to worry about that until their second or third round.
Yeah,
it's usually when running backs go.
They need somebody because they let a lot of Penny's gone, and like I said, Travis Homer is gone. So they need depth behind Kenneth Walker. There are some rumblings that they might try to bring Zeke to Seattle. I
I was
highly
just about to
doubt
say
that.
Ezekiel Elliott
Yeah.
in a in a Seahawks uniform is
So I don't know about that. I mean,
sketchy.
we've had a lot of like see the Eddie Lacy trade. Remember that?
Oh my goodness.
I didn't forget, but I think most Seahawks fans are trying to.
I think Seahawks fans have drowned their sorrows in enough cheeseburgers to remember
Yeah,
that trade.
yeah, yeah. But you have to, because I was thinking, oh, here we go. They're going to draft. They're going to draft their heir apparent quarterback, in this draft, but maybe not. I mean, maybe because the Drew Lock signing just says to me, okay, they got Geno, and if Drew agreed to come on, and re-sign, then he's the backup. So what are we going to do here? So maybe they're
Well,
going to take a flyer on a QB in one of the later rounds and see what happens.
well, Wonka the Saint has jumped in. He says Seattle needs front seven run stoppers, defensive tackle,
Maybe D
linebacker,
end.
maybe
Yep.
defensive end.
They
Okay,
did not.
okay.
They did not get to the quarterback as much as they have in previous years, but they did sign Julian Love. They signed the safety from the New York Giants, so I'm happy about that signing. And they also did sign inside linebacker Devin Bush from the Steelers. So I
Mhm.
don't know a ton about those two players, but I can tell you that I like some of the moves that they're trying to make on defense, especially with the uncertainty of Jamal Adams.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. Well, Wonko also says the ghost of Al Davis haunting the Raiders.
Yeah.
He also goes
Yeah.
on to say Orlando Brown Jr. shoring up the Bengals O line is a sneaky good move, though. I agree.
Yes, that
I
is.
agree.
That's a
That
huge
offensive
move.
line is going to be a monster next year.
Yeah.
It's going to
Yeah.
be excellent. I mean, they got themselves together in the last, I think, 13 weeks, but Orlando Brown signing with the Bengals makes them that line that much better.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a massive maneuver. You protect Joe Burrow, you're doing a good job.
Mhm.
The Bengals are close. I still say, I mean, they're very close, and they addressed one of their biggest needs. And that old line did shore itself up over the course of the season. So you add Orlando Brown to that, it's going to be that's quite a maneuver. That's quite a maneuver. To
Yes.
quote Vince McMahon on announcing from back in the day, what a maneuver!
So we need to talk about a pair of quarterbacks that are kind of out there in the ether, so to speak.
Oh,
Aaron
geez.
Rodgers, Lamar Jackson. Now let's talk about Aaron Rodgers first. I actually watched the full interview. Well, watch/listen to the full interview that he had. He's on Pat McAfee's channel on Wednesdays at 1:00 Eastern.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it at first, but then I said, "All right, I gotta go back and listen to it." So I did. Spent the full hour listening to that interview, and there were nothing. There was nothing really revealing about that interview, but he did reveal that yes, he wants to be with the New York Jets next year, and the holdup is the considerations. Now, what those considerations are, we don't know at this point because there's been speculation as to what the Packers are asking for. There's speculation as to what the Jets are willing to give in return.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is that my New York Jets are going to have Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback in 2023.
So I have to ask you this: how do you feel? Now, obviously, you got to wait for the trade to go through so you can see what you
Mm-hmm.
gave up and what these. But let's take all of that out of it. Just the prospect of having Aaron Rodgers under center, which there have been rumors. There have been rumors that they are also targeting Randall Cobb. Some of his former targets. How do you feel?
Well, they did officially announce the signing of Alan Lazard today, so that's one piece of the puzzle. And the fact that Aaron Rodgers pumped his tires was on McAfee was tremendous. That's a really cool thing of him to do. He's like, yeah, he's an effing dog. Go get him. Like, Go sign him. I vouch completely over his credentials. Now, you might be saying, okay, why did they pick up Lazard? Why did they pay him that much? And this is what drives me crazy about social media sometimes. When I see fans and analysts of opposing teams going, "Oh, they overpaid Lazard, they did this and that," it's like, do you not know how contracts work?
Yeah,
Because we don't know the details, because this was the tampering period. Today was the announcement of contracts. The signings were today. So when you see a figure of 4 years, 44 million, 22 guaranteed, we don't know what the full details are. Now, it could be that he has an out after 2 years, which is basically what the Jets are going to try to rent. I would say have Aaron Rodgers there for. They want to have him there for 2 years. So it could hopefully bring a Super Bowl to us very, very starved New York Jets fans who, for some of us, have never seen them go to a Super Bowl, much less having to watch the ghost of, well, not the ghost, but having to watch footage of Joe Namath win the one and only Super Bowl in franchise history. But he also addressed the supposed quote demand, I'm putting in the air quotes, demands, that he says, okay, I want, if you want me to join the team, I want this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy.
Yeah.
One of them being Alan Lazard, which was fait accompli. The Jets primarily got him as a slot. He's going to be the new slot receiver, and he's a great run blocker. And that's what the Jets want in their wide receivers. It's this very similar system to what they have in San Francisco.
Yeah.
They want receivers who can run block. But also for him to say, I want Randall Cobb, I want Mercedes Lewis, and I want Odell Beckham Jr. The national media try to make him seem kind of diva-ish. Like, okay, I want these guys. But I'd rather hear it from his mouth. I'd rather hear what he has to say. That's why I watched the interview. That's what he got me to watch. Yeah, he didn't announce anything, whether a trade had gone through, but I want to hear what his side of it is. What his side of the whole, I guess you could say, amicable split between him and the Green Bay Packers. And for him to come out to say, I'm one of the top players in Green Bay Packers history, I believe it. Guy's won 4 MVPs. The guy won a Super Bowl. Guy's been to a bunch of NFC championships.
Yeah.
There's no argument that he's one of the best Green Bay Packers in team history. So, in regards, and I'm coming back to your question, I was gonna answer your question, but I just need to air out a few of my thoughts. I'm excited. Excited. It's a tempered excitement, but once the trade goes through, I'll be more excited. I'm not necessarily going to buy his jersey.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to see what kind of compensation the Jets are willing to throw at the Packers. And again, there's lots of speculation. Some say that the Packers have more leverage. Some say the Jets have more leverage. I personally think, again, I'm going to be a biased Jets fan. I think the Jets have more leverage based on what Aaron Rodgers said on Wednesday. Plus, you're trading for a guy who's going to be 39 years old.
Yes.
When camp comes around, you're not getting a guy like Lamar Jackson. We'll talk about him in just a moment.
Yeah.
When you're not trading 2 first-round picks for a 20. He's a 25-year-old quarterback compared to a 39-year-old quarterback. Best you're probably going to get is a second rounder this year, a conditional 3rd-round pick next year, and a player like Corey Davis, because you need to basically swap salaries, because Aaron Rodgers' salary for this year, I believe it's upwards of $50 million based on, or just could be the terms of the rest of the contract for all I know. So, but yeah, I have a very tempered level of excitement currently, but once that trade goes through, I'll be even more excited, and I can't wait to see what he does with this really young, hungry group of receivers and the running backs. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think you should be excited as a Jets fan. And like you said, I think it's wise to be like a tempered excitement. I mean, if this was 25-year-old Aaron Rodgers, you'd be bouncing off the walls,
Yeah,
obviously. But the fact is that that's not where he is at this point. But it doesn't mean that he can't still play at a high level and do what he does.
right.
But I will say, as a person that has no dog in this fight, now I have very good friends. Obviously, you and both Scott are Jets fans. So for the
Mhm.
two of you, I'd like to see the team do very well. But also, I will be extremely excited to watch Jordan Love this year because the Packers, they basically said, okay, it's Jordan Love's time now.
Yep.
And I want to see what he can do. I want to see. I mean, now he looked great in that little stretch where he had to come in in relief of Rodgers. I think it was in that Monday night game against the Lions. He looked absolutely unbelievable. But you cannot count on that small stretch. Believe me, I know about it because the Seahawks signed Matt Flynn to a massive contract based on a game like that, and
Yeah.
we all know what happened. And I'll never forget. Hey, shout out to the guy that tried to dunk on Matt Flynn on Twitter, and he said, "Oh, how's it feel to be beat out by Russell Wilson for the starting job?" And Matt Flynn said, "Feels great. I've got millions in the bank, and I didn't have to play." So shout out to Matt Flynn for that one.
That sounds like Jacoby. That sounds like Jacoby Brissett's contract.
Yeah, yeah. But I'll be very excited to see what Jordan Love can do come September.
Yeah. I've got a good buddy of mine who has contributed to our channel a couple times in the comments section.
Hmm.
Uh, he's got feelings about it, but
Oh yeah, I can imagine. He's not shy. I play fantasy football with him.
yeah. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what kind of what kind of what kind of things Jordan Love can do with this team. But the other quarterback that we're going to talk about is Lamar Jackson. Now, the if in case you've missed it or you forgot, the Ravens put the exclusive franchise tag on Lamar Jackson. So if you sign him to an offer sheet and they don't match, you owe them 2 first-round picks, one for this year and I believe one for next year.
Mhm.
But I'm kind of curious, is Lamar Jackson, is this an exercise in futility representing himself?
I mean, this is so. Let me caveat this by saying that I discussed this briefly with you at our production meeting that I
Mm-hmm.
wanted at a top secret location. Now,
Yes, a very top secret location.
but I wanted to discuss this on the show because Richard Sherman tweeted something very interesting. Um, it might have been a couple weeks ago at this point. I can't remember when. And even though he's a former Seahawk, I don't always agree with what Sherman says. So he was a player that was very good, but it made him very hard to root for sometimes with some of the things that he does. But you can't argue. The man is smart. He went to Stanford, all right? So and
That he did.
what he said is he said this Lamar Jackson situation needs to be examined more closely. I cannot remember a time where, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he said basically something to the effect of, I cannot remember a time where a QB of this caliber was not pursued by all 32 teams.
Mm,
Because basically what happened is after the Ravens they placed the exclusive tag on him, there were teams that came out and said, we will not be negotiating for the rights to have Lamar Jackson come play for us. And some of those teams were extremely QB needy teams. One of them that comes to mind is the Raiders. And you just have to wonder what's going on. Why are there teams that were willing to come out and say, "Hey, we're not getting in. when we know the caliber of talent that Lamar Jackson is. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you said, I think part of it is he negotiates for himself. He does not have an agent. I think there is a certain stigma whenever players do that. Teams are more hesitant to negotiate with them. Now, there are players out there. Sherman was one of them. He was his own agent. He negotiated that deal with the 49ers, that prove it deal after he left the Seahawks, after they released him because of his injured. Bobby Wagner, I believe, is another notable player, also former Seahawk, who negotiates his own deals. But there aren't that many out there, especially I can't remember another quarterback that is as high profile as Lamar Jackson who was representing themselves. So I think that's part of it. But you have to wonder if there's something about the way teams view that maybe he handled this situation in Baltimore. Maybe there's something that we don't know, but maybe there's another factor that we're not even considering. So
I think one more factor. Pardon me for interrupting you.
Mhm.
I think one more factor is his injury history.
Yeah, that's true.
Last year he sat out the last 6 games with a knee injury, and they barely squeaked in. They barely made it to the playoffs and almost beat the Bengals without him.
Yeah, they did.
So I gotta wonder if
Hundley played well.
Hundley played very well. But I kind of have to wonder if they were looking at life after Lamar in those games, including the playoff game. And they had to wonder, okay, if we lose Lamar Jackson, then we're gonna want compensation back.
Yeah.
We poured 5 seasons into him. He won an MVP. He won a playoff game with us. Granted, he didn't take us to a Super Bowl like we had hoped he would, but he did a lot for this franchise.
Yeah.
And for as much as we invested in him, we want to get some sort of compensation back for the time that we invested into him. Now, he won't have the thing about Lamar Jackson. Also, I think the stigma is his attachment to Greg Roman.
Oh yeah.
And Greg Roman's not there anymore. So who knows what kind of game what kind of game he'll have to develop if he has a new coordinator come in, or he goes to another team with another coordinator, how his skill set is going to match up with that coordinator, what that coordinator can do for him. So I think it's those two things: the injuries and being attached to the hip with Greg Roman. It might be a I won't say a curse, but it might be a
deterring factor.
Deterring factor, yes. Thank you.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I do agree with what you're saying. And whichever team decides to bring him in, not only are they going to have to give the Ravens that compensation, but they're also going to have to restructure their offense to Lamar Jackson's strength. I think your point about him with his injury history, that could be something that teams are looking at, because he is a very dynamic. He can throw the ball. Let's dispel it. Okay. People said that Lamar Jackson was only a running quarterback. That's not true. That's patently not true. He can make throws. We've seen him do it, especially in the beginning of the season. The first 4 games, he was throwing the ball better than anybody.
Yep.
But I will say, with the amount that he runs and this injury history with the knee, it could be something that are making teams bulk slightly, because all we have to do is look at Robert Griffin III. I remember he was as mobile as anybody, but he got injured, and he played that playoff game against the Seahawks years ago when he was on the Redskins, and he was limping through that game. That game was hard to watch.
I wouldn't say he played that game. I would say Mike Shanahan made him play that game.
Okay, yes. So I'll say Mike Shanahan. Okay, I will add that addendum. But he was never the same after that. You could just tell. And also, he did sign with Baltimore late in their career, so maybe Maybe they are like, seeing this and going, oh, well, this could be another situation. And also, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes in Baltimore. Now, you can understand why they gave him the tag, but they gave him they gave themselves the opportunity to match or at least receive compensation if somebody does sign him. But also, Baltimore's got other problems. You got the GM coming out making comments about the wide receivers. You got the wide receivers making other comments. They got some things to figure out there. To me, if Lamar Jackson, part of me is hoping, and take this ride with me, won't you? Lamar Jackson, part of me is hoping that he signs with Atlanta, because I think that Lamar Jackson with the Atlanta Falcons, and he has, which Marcus Mariota, he signed with somebody else today. He is no longer.
He's out the Eagles.
Yep, that's right. He signed to be their number 2.
Well, don't forget. Atlanta drafted Desmond Ritter.
They did,
and they just signed Taylor Heineke.
Oh, I forgot about the Heineke signing.
Yeah,
I forgot about the Heineke signing.
I thought he would have gone to an NFC South team. I thought he could have gone to Atlanta.
Yeah.
I certainly thought he could go to Tampa Bay.
But they have Baker Mayfield now.
They just brought in Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
And I certainly thought he could have gone to Carolina, but they seem to have their eyes set on either Stroud or Young as their quarterback for the future. And New Orleans just signed Derek Carr.
Derek Carr, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know.
I don't know who's out there to want to bring him in. So
you think he returns to Baltimore then, perhaps?
I think he's going to have to return to I think he might have to return to Baltimore.
Yeah.
It's I wouldn't say it's sad. I mean, lots of people thought he would go to Washington, but Washington's already said, nope, we're out.
Yeah. They were on that list of teams, I believe. The
only other team I could see trying to get him, and I think the Jets, if and only if they can't get a deal worked out for Aaron Rodgers, they'll make the trade. They'll sign Lamar Jackson.
Oh, that'd be
if and only if.
Something. Yeah.
There's one phraseology that I learned from algebra that stuck with me since high school. It's if and only if.
Yeah, but
I'm not students.
I mean, I think the Jets have put themselves, and not in a negative way, but I think the Jets have put themselves in a position where they are going to make this work for Rodgers. I mean, they brought in Hackett to be the OC. They brought in. You said they signed Lazard today, so that points to Rodgers. I mean, they're laying the groundwork, so this thing is going to be done. They'll hammer out this compensation.
Yeah, we got a question from Waka the Saints. Says, do you guys agree that Arizona at number 3 is the most likely to trade partner for a quarterback needy team? No, I think they're settled at number 3. I think they need to. I mean, Kyler Murray aside, he's not coming back for a while.
Yeah.
I think if a team is desperate enough to trade with Arizona at number 3, it might happen. But
yeah,
I think they're okay. I think they're okay at number 3.
I mean, if somebody throws the bag at them, Arizona's not going to turn that down. But I can't think of a team because Carolina already traded the bag to get that number 1 pick. So clearly they've already targeted their guy. And so therefore he's not going to slip. The Texans are the Texans. You never know what they're doing. So I doubt that they would try to spin any trade with Arizona to get there, but you never know.
No. And I'm looking up what their needs are. Their needs. Okay. I think they stay at 3 because their 3 biggest needs are all on defense. They need an edge rusher. They need a defensive lineman. It looks like an interior defensive lineman and corner. So I think they stay at 3 and they pick up an edge or a defensive tackle. That's my indication. I think they're going to stay at 3.
Rystradamus in the house. Oh man, do you have it? Oh, there we go.
There it is. Yeah, we've hammered out. We've kind of beaten the horse on the free agency. So we're gonna take a quick break with our friends from Invader Coffee. We'll come back. We'll talk about a little bit about March Madness and a little bit of baseball too. So stick around for some more No Credentials Required. There it is. This episode of No Credentials Required is brought to you by Invader Coffee. For the coffee lover who wants good, quality coffee with no bullshit and no filler, Invader Coffee is an ultra-premium, veteran-owned coffee company proudly delivering only the best coffee your hard-earned money can buy. They aim to only serve the highest quality, organic, air-roasted coffee beans sourced from free trade farms all over the world. They keep things simple. The best coffee at an affordable price in order to provide you with the value you deserve for your morning boost. 100% fair trade, 100% organic coffee beans, 100% air roasted, 100% money back guarantee. Visit invadercoffee.com, enter promo code BELLYUP at checkout, and receive 15% off your order. That's right, folks. Invader Coffee, the best coffee your money can buy, for sure. 15% off your order when using promo code BELLYUP at checkout, and you can support the show by using our affiliate in the podcast and on our Facebook and YouTube links. I actually just got the newest blend, which is their Wake Up the Bones. It's a medium to dark roasted coffee. It's very good and gets you going.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to tomorrow morning. Making breakfast has become like this thing that I do on Saturday. I kind of wake up and I make it at a leisurely pace. I'm looking forward to my donut dealer blend
Nice.
tomorrow. So I've had that one. That one's really good. I've had at this point, I feel like I've tried a ton of Invader coffees. I've got the Don't Cali, my Texas blend. I had the some of the holiday exclusive seasonal blends. I had their pumpkin pecan blend. I've enjoyed them all. I keep going back.
Yeah, another one of their good blends is Breaking Case of Emergency, and I'm also getting their Day of the Dead blend, which is a Mexican coffee blend. So
Oh yeah, I've had that one before. That one's a good one.
Yeah, what's funny is that it's the otherwise known as is called the Dirty Sanchez. And I'm like, ooh. Well then, you can definitely tell this definitely run by an ex-military outfit. But yeah, support the show by using our affiliate link. Get 15% off at checkout with promo code BELLYUP. So, Dustin, we talked about this in our production meeting in our top secret location. I don't know if you had a chance to fill one out, but did you do a March Madness bracket?
I did not this year. Life got a little crazy on me, and I've just been really busy with my day job and some other things going on in my life. And the March Madness always sneaks up on me, and it is those first couple of days are always like some of the most magical days in sports. You see some big upsets. You see everybody at work kind of they accept the fact that you're probably going to be watching the games all day. There's the websites where you can press the boss button and it pulls up an Excel spreadsheet. I love the whole I love the whole thing. But unfortunately I did not fill out a bracket this year. I just forgot about it.
We actually do have a mutual friend who's at the games right now down in Albany.
Oh yes. So I was, we were discussing having him on as a guest, but I don't think we could have done that. We'll have to do that next year. But shout out to Scott. He's usually in the comments watching the shows. I know he listens a lot of times the next day. So shout out to you, Scott.
Show mascot has arrived, folks. Show mascot has arrived.
There he is.
Probably wants food. But
yeah. Did you fill out a bracket this year?
I did. My bracket looks awesome so far.
Oh,
I've only lost. Let's see. How many have I lost? Let's go through the list here. I've lost 1, 2. I've lost only 2 games so far.
Oh wow. Hey, you got to be doing now. Are you doing the Fibonacci scoring and points increase each round, or
No,
okay? Do you have
this
any
was
of
just
the?
I don't have a methodology. I just decided to pick.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm just like, all right, this looks like a fun thing. Like, all right, there's always a 5-12 or a 4-13 upset somewhere, and
yeah,
there
yeah.
was yesterday. If you had watched the ending of the Furman Virginia game, man, Jacoby Myers has to be feeling really good about himself
Yeah.
after that play. I'll take you through it, Dustin. I'm not sure if you've seen the highlight.
I did not. I did
Okay,
not.
so 12 seconds left. UVA inbounds the ball. They're up 1, and Furman's playing full on full court press.
Yeah.
They're deep in their own end. Guy's getting double teamed. He decides to heave it to half court. Picked off by Furman. One dribble, throws it out to the 3-point line to one of his teammates. Shoots it, drains a 3. They go up 1, and that's how the game ended.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you feel sorry for the kid
Yeah.
because college kid is probably a senior. He probably wanted to get the wanted to prolong his career,
Mhm.
but at the same time, it's March Madness, man.
Oh yeah. It's
March.
all. It's always there's always the crazy upset and the things that happen, and that's the beauty of it. Anybody can fill out a bracket. You don't have to have a methodology. Although I do.
I will
All
say.
right.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm going to tell this story. Now, I used to run one for my work. I used to
Mhm.
run a bracket, and I'll keep them anonymous. But I used to run a bracket at work every year, and people got to expect it. There was a $5 entry charge.
Mhm.
And one year I worked with this coworker, and this coworker, very nice person, but sometimes had trouble picking things up. So when I gave this person their bracket, I said, if you want to fill this out, you can fill this out. You log into Yahoo and you select your teams, blah blah blah. I said, if you have any questions, come ask me. They said okay. They did not ask me any questions.
Oh no.
They filled out their bracket. They thought the seeding number was the number of wins that the team had on the season. So she
Oh.
so they had a 15 beating a 2. They had, it was all sorts of they were out of it within the first couple hours. It was all over. And I said, "Why didn't you ask
Oh.
me questions?"
So
Oh
I'll
man.
tell you my bracket so far. I have 3 brackets. I have one on ESPN. I have one with Crane Companies on the Yahoo Fantasy Pool, and I have
Mhm.
one with Belly Up Sports with Run Your Pool. I'm in first place in the Crane and Company bracket. I'm also in first place in the Run Your Pool bracket, and I don't know
Okay.
where I stand right now on the. I'm 1,158th in the ESPN overall bracket. So,
Okay. All right.
but I've only lost 2 games so far, and one of those games was VCU. I had them beating St. Mary's of California. Unfortunately, that was one of the Albany games. So one of the games in Albany
Mhm.
that got shot down this afternoon. And I had Arizona, the University of Arizona. Curse upon your name, University of Arizona. I had you going to the Elite Eight, and
Oh, no.
Princeton
That
backdoor cutted my Elite Eight pick, which is fine. Which is
yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I'll give you my final 4.
All right.
So my final 4 is coming out of the South bracket is San Diego. I got San Diego State. Out of the East, I've got Marquette. Out of the Midwest, I've got Houston, and out of the West, I've got Gonzaga
The
and
Zags.
the
Mark
Zags.
Few.
Never count out the Zags. And I have Houston playing San Diego State in the national championship, and I have Houston winning the whole thing. And the reason why I picked Houston, because I think they are motivated, considering that the national championship game is in Houston this year.
Mhm.
It's at NRG Field. I think they're motivated to go to the Final Four and win the Natty in their hometown. That's
All right.
that's
All right.
my basis on having them win the championship.
You realize that this is the ultimate Rye-Stradamus test.
This is the ultimate Rice-Stradamus test. I could stand to win some
cash.
I could stand to win some cash. Yeah,
Some cheddar.
The Creighton Company bracket is $1,000 to the winner.
Ooh,
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, and me being in first place overall right now looks good, but again, we've got 3 more weeks of this.
Yeah.
Between the round of 32, the Sweet 16, the Elite 8, the Final 4, and the Natty, and we'll see what happens. But right now, first place feels pretty darn good.
Oh yeah, man! You got to take this moment. You got to relish in it. You know.
I am. I've got my Guinness Zero here.
Yeah, crushing it. Now this is one of the most. I will say, and I'm a little disappointed in myself that I didn't get caught up in the Magic this year. But there was just too many other things happening. I've been pretty busy at work. There's just a lot going on, and but I mean, this is one of the most magical times of year. It's snow notwithstanding that we got on Tuesday.
So done.
This is like, this is the time, like the clocks have sprung ahead now. It's lighter out longer. You got the draft coming up. March Madness is here. Pitchers and catchers are reporting. Baseball spring training's in full swing. You're starting to, you see the magic on the horizon. And this is always, March Madness is a big part of it for me.
That's for sure.
It's great. And I wish at one of these times we'll have to have Scott on to talk about it. He really loves this weekend. It's one of his favorite times of year. It's like Christmas to him. I've talked to him enough to know. And I will say, a little side note, it feels weird to know that Jim Boeheim is not on the sidelines for this. I think I'm not alone by saying I've grown up with seeing Jim Boeheim on the sidelines. Like, he's just an institution, especially here, because the debate is eternal. Are we part of upstate New York? Are we not? A lot of people have a lot of thoughts on it. But
yes, we are.
Yes, we are. I say that myself. People are like, well, no, you're the capital region. I'm like, oh, look, all right.
It's part of upstate New York.
Yes. There are so many things.
Well, you need to give an educational lesson of what New York is. Okay. Let me put this way. Anything past Westchester and Putnam counties is upstate New York.
Yeah.
There are particular regions, the capital region, the Adirondacks, Leatherstocking country.
Yes.
Central New York.
Central region.
The Southern Tier, Western New York.
Yeah. Which
the Catskills, the Hudson Valley.
Yes, and I'd like to go out to Southern Tier Brewing because they make phenomenal beers. But it would be quite the drive out there.
Their pumpkin is
yeah, it's really good. But like, he's been an institution. Like, to see him walking up and down the sidelines, it was almost comforting. You're like, some things are still the same, and it just it's a little different this year, knowing that he's not going to be there.
Wonko says, I'm ignorant of college ball this year. Houston, Bama, Purdue, all at the one spots. I wasn't even sure. I was looking at the men's bracket. Yes, that's the men's bracket. I don't really pay attention to women. I don't really pay attention to women's college basketball, so I didn't do a women's bracket.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're watching or you're listening or you're on social media, let us know how your bracket is so far. So we're going to take one more commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about an injury that happened at the World Baseball Classic this past week that could have ramifications for a certain National League baseball team this season. So stay tuned.
We have breaking news. Manscaped now sells beard products. That's right. They are once again revolutionizing men's grooming with the brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. From a beard trim to a fresh shave, the technology behind the Beard Hedger Pro Kit allows you to shape your signature beard look. Now you can finally use Manscaped products to make your drapes match your carpet by going to manscaped.com and using the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY for 20% off and free shipping. It's time to tame your mane. No one likes a weird beard, so say goodbye to all your stubble and trouble with Manscaped Pro Beard Kit. It all starts with the Beard Hedger. This thing is a juggernaut of fixing faces. First off, this cordless trimmer has a rotary wheel that gives you 20 hair cutting lengths, all with one guard, so no more messy drawers full of extra add-ons. That's right, face grooming doesn't need to be hard. Get 20 different beard lengths in just one guard. Plus, it's waterproof, so you can shave in the shower to avoid all that hair in the sink. The titanium-coated T-blade is tough on hair but smooth on your face, leading to single-stroke efficiency that brings satisfaction one stroke at a time. So make sure you get 20% off and free shipping when you go to manscaped.com by using the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY. Once again, that's 20% off and free shipping when you use the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY at manscaped.com.
That's right, folks. Manscaped now makes Beard Hedger trimmers. I got a I've got a complimentary one a few weeks ago. And actually before the show, I went and I used it. I mean, look at this beard.
Oh, it's looking good.
It's glorious. It's great. You've got the no credentials required seal of approval for the man.
Oh man, you better watch it. Somebody's gonna clip that out. Someone's gonna clip that out.
It'll only be me.
Oh man.
Yes,
we got to put that. All right, I'm saying it. Producer, aka you, put that at an end of year, no credentials required highlight reel. We gotta do that.
But yes, the Manscaped Beard Hedger gets the no credentials required seal of approval. You can get yours for 20% off using the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY and free. You get free shipping too at manscaped.com. And again, use promo code BELLYUPFANTASY for 20% off your order and free shipping. Speaking of shipping, Edwin Diaz's season is now shipped because of an injury that happened at the World Baseball Classic. The New York Mets closer was celebrating with his teammates from Puerto Rico on, I believe it was Wednesday night, if I'm not mistaken. And while celebrating, something happened and he tore up his knee.
Jeez.
Now, yeah, I mean, talk about freak celebration. I mean, it reminded me of Martin Gramatica.
Yes, I was going to say shades of the Gramaticas. Yes.
Yeah. So, Dustin, I'm not a New York Mets fan.
I'm not
we're
either.
both Yankees fans.
We're both Yankees, yeah.
But it's our crosstown brethren. I'm pretty sure our Mets fans' brethren are saying, "Oh my gosh, what happened? What's going to happen next?" I mean, how much does this injury affect the New York Mets?
Well, I think it's big because closer has kind of been, and like I said, I don't follow. Basically, I follow the Yankees. I don't follow the Mets. I follow them to some degree because I play fantasy baseball poorly most years, but I play. And closer has always seemed like such a problem for them. They were always searching for. I remember a couple of years ago when Familia was like looking like he was going to be the next big closer, and everybody was excited.
They brought in K-Rod for a couple seasons.
Yeah, they had K-Rod going out there, and I think it had to be hard for them to watch the crosstown rivals, the Yankees, just trot out Mariano Rivera year after year. So I think that's part of the reason why closers seem like such a glaring need for the Mets. But it had seemed like in Edwin Diaz, they had found their guy. And so this kind of throws their bullpen into turmoil. I don't really know who they have behind him. I don't know if they have that setup guy that can just come in and assume the closer's role. You have to wonder, with Steve Cohen in his bankroll, they might try to go out and grab somebody in a free agency. But I think this is big for the Mets, and it's a team that has aspirations because they acquired Justin Verlander in the offseason. Got Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer reunited on the same staff once again. And you've got some of those offensive weapons that the Mets have, but they did lose Jacob deGrom to the Texas Rangers, which sorry, Jacob, but I don't think the Rangers are going to do anything. But far be it from him. Hey, if they offered him a great contract, go get it.
Right.
But yeah, I think this does affect the Mets, and it kind of takes a position that finally seemed to be a certainty for them and throws it into chaos once again.
Yeah. I'm looking at their depth chart, and right now the closer is David Robertson. Longtime New York Yankee, went to
White Sox.
the White Sox, then he got traded to the Phillies, or he signed with the Phillies. He's went to the Phillies the last couple of seasons, and now he's back in New York with the Mets. So he's going to be their closer this season. But this is a huge. I mean, David Robertson. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Great reliever. Great middle reliever. He's not Edwin Diaz.
No.
Have the same swagger. Doesn't have.
Yes.
Edwin doesn't have. He's not coming out to Timmy trumpets. He's not. The heat that Edwin can bring. Again, David Robinson's a serviceable closer, but he's not Edwin Diaz.
Yeah, it's true. Like Edwin Diaz, as you pointed out, he had that vibe coming out, years ago. And it was, closers used to have theme songs. I remember, obviously, Mariano Rivera's famously was Enter Sandman. But then
Trevor Hoffman was Hell's Bells.
Yep, longtime closer for the Padres. Those are the two that I remember, and those are the two guys that were coming out, and they had that swagger, they had that confidence, and it was clear that Edwin Diaz, he had that finally. After years of, I'm trying to think of the much maligned Mets closer that they had for years. Oh, I can't think of his name. Why is it escaping me?
It's not John Franco, is it?
No. John Franco was okay.
He was good.
I think his first name was Jose, I think. Mets closer. This is why the computers are our friends. No,
that's why
Jose.
we have Google.
Yeah. I can't remember. It will come to me at like 3 a.m. and I'll be, and my friend Jay, he'll yell at me because he's a longtime Mets fan, and he'll be like, how can you forget? But it was a closer that was like, he was on the Marlins, and he was like young, and they thought he was going to be good, and then he went
Jose
to the
Lima?
Mets, and he was always melting down. I can't remember. It's some Met fan is going to be like, oh my God, it's this person, but I can't remember.
Is it Jose Lima?
I don't believe it was Jose Lima. Okay. I could be completely wrong. All right.
Armando Benitez.
It was Armando Benitez.
Oh, okay.
That is who it was. Armando Benitez.
Bleacher Report actually has him listed as number 5 on the top 10 New York Mets closers all time.
Oh man! Well, there was a lot of Mets fans that did not like Armando. Tells you a lot about the Mets
organization.
Yes. I can't believe. Thank you for finding it. Oh my God, Armando Benitez. That is who. He was coming in. He was blowing games. But the thing is, he would always get like he'd do stuff like I didn't watch many Mets games, but the ones that I saw, I remember he would come in and he'd like load the bases and then strike out 2 of 3 batters and give up like 1 run all of a sudden and still like save the game. It was never safe with Armando Benitez. That's who it was.
Yeah. So yeah, the Mets. I don't say the Mets are in trouble, but I think this affects their. I think this affects whether or not they went up in the playoffs this year,
Yeah.
because that's a big loss.
Yes, that's a huge loss. The closer with confidence. And
Yeah.
that doesn't bode well. I mean, closers as it is, aside from the few that we've mentioned, and also John Smoltz, you got to give honorable mention to John Smoltz,
Mm-hmm.
making that transition from starting pitcher to closer, and he was unbelievable as a closer as well. Closers do not have a long shelf life.
No.
They like I remember John Axford. He was like a huge thing for a couple of years for the Brewers and I believe the Indians, and he just kind of fell right off the mat. They don't, and then Gagne, the longtime closer for the Dodgers. I remember he was
Yep.
unhittable, but
Eric
then
Gagne. Mm-hmm.
there was performance enhancing stuff going. But as a rule, closers do not have like a super long
Heck,
shelf life.
remember John Rocker, who looked
Oh
unstoppable
yeah, yeah.
until he faced the Yankees in the World Series in '99.
Yes, Rocker is memorable for a lot of reasons, and a lot of them are the wrong ones.
Yep.
He's not a nice person, but anyway.
No. Well, Wonko is saying, says the baseball gods have not been super kind to my Mariners or local Reds teams lately. Still go to a game or two a year, but hard to get excited. I mean, the Mariners had a pretty decent year last year. They went
Yeah,
to
the
the wild
Mariners
card.
have some buzz.
They crawled out of that hole to beat Toronto. Good for you guys. Unfortunately, they ran into the buzzsaw that was the Houston Astros in the
Yeah,
divisional round, and were summarily swept in 3 games. So
yeah.
he also gives me a compliment. Great beer, looks great. Might have to invest in a quality trimmer myself. Hey, the no credentials required seal of approval.
Yeah, yeah, which we went into great detail about earlier.
Yeah. So we're gonna close things out. Dustin, do you have any closing thoughts before we take off?
I don't think so. I just want to say follow me on Twitter if you haven't already, eldusto67. That's my Instagram handle. I will be on this show. I'm happy to be back. We have some things in store for you and no credentials required. I don't want to give up what any of those are, but it will be an entertaining off season.
It
And
sure will. We've got some I'm looking at booking some guests. We're going to do a baseball preview. We'll do some evergreen material. Have some debate topics. It'll be fun.
Oh yeah,
It'll
I'm
be
looking
fun.
forward to it. And there might be the odd movie review in there. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. And you can find me right down below here at Who Is Ryan MCC on Twitter and Instagram. Follow us. Follow the show. Oh, also follow the show too. Twitter,
Oh
Instagram,
yeah.
TikTok, No Creds REQ, Facebook.com/No Creds REQ, YouTube.com/at No Creds REQ. Subscribe to the podcast. Megaphone is our home base, but you can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Play, wherever you podcast. Rate and review. We'll even read your review on the air if you leave us a nice review. So at the top of the show, I kind of mentioned we had had some family stuff going on. My mom was in the hospital for a while. She's doing much better, but unfortunately, we did have a passing in the family this week. We had to put down one of our cats. We had to put down Oreo this week, so it was very sad.
No.
Yeah, it's very sad. She had some cancer issues, and unfortunately, we had to let her cross the Rainbow Bridge. So it's been a tough couple days. Just there's a little bit of a void in both my sisters and my life so far. So
Yeah.
but
That's
it was tough to let her go, but it was the right decision. We gave her the best life we could for the last almost 12 years we've had her. So yeah, but tough week here at the McCarthy household. But
yeah. Well, I'm
we'll push on
sorry.
through.
I'm sorry about that, and give regards to your sister as well. Obviously, from
Will
me. But yeah, Oreo. I only met her a few times, but she was a great cat.
She was.
And you two gave her specifically. I know how much you both took care of her. Oreo had some issues, but she was always friendly to me
Yep.
when I saw her, so I was always happy for that.
Yep.
And she was a great cat, and she will be missed.
She will. So we're going to wrap things up on a little bit of a bittersweet note, but thank you for watching or listening to No Credentials Required. If you're watching live or watching on the replay, we appreciate you watching. If you listen again, subscribe. But you've been watching or listening to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We're presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Godzilla Media. We'll be back next week with another edition. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll talk to you again next week.
All right. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.